All right. Good afternoon, everybody. So we've had quite the difficulties getting on this afternoon via all right. Good afternoon. Okay, let me mute one of these. So we've had quite the difficulties getting on this afternoon. All right. So um we're here. We are ready to get this thing started here for this afternoon. So I will try to um get this thing to record. It's been quite a while since I've been on here. Here we go. Let's do that. All right. So again, we are here for STEM Week. We're here for STEM Week, and we are excited to partner with them and to do something very special with STEM Week and also explore. So, with that being said, we'll give everyone a second to come on in and to join us this afternoon. So, if you all have not been on here before on our YouTube channel, by all means, you may join us, subscribe to us. And again, I'm trying to get all this stuff situated for this afternoon. So I don't know why everything looks crooked on my end. I hope it's okay on y'all's end. I have no idea what's going on this afternoon, but nevertheless, we'll get it worked out. Um, so my name is Shark Tooth Charles. I'm a Myrtle Beach Shark Teeth, and we are so graciously partnered with STEM and Explore. So we're excited to do that. We're excited to hopefully have more events with you all, live and in person. So again, I am from the Myrtle Beach area here in South Carolina, and we're excited to be doing this live event talking about sharks, shark teeth, fossils, shark tooth hunting, as we live here on the coast. So wherever you are, the conditions may indeed change. They will change due to seasons, due to tides, due to storms, due to what your area produces. So here on the South Carolina or the eastern coast of the United States, what we like to do is we like to start from Maryland, Calvert Cliffs, all the way down to the tip of Florida. So as we look at that whole coastline compared to the West Coast, that's a total different geographical area there. So, but when we deal with our coast here, that whole coastline is totally filled with tons of shells, tons of fossils, tons of teeth. So, as we begin our journey of sharks and sharks in general, we're looking at something that started a species that started about 450 some million years ago. So they're the oldest animal. They're older than sharks. They're older, excuse me, older than trees, older than most of our ancestors. Obviously, they've been here before dinosaurs. So they look like eel creatures. So as they look like eel creatures, let me get some of this stuff out of the way here. They were known as cartilaginous fishes. Okay, so they're made of cartilage and not bone. So we have a lot of bone where they have a lot of cartilage. That's how they're moving a whole lot different than us. So we also have um, these creatures that look like eels. Okay. So as they evolved, and most of those species of sharks were very small, about 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot in length, much to what the zebra and the smaller leopard sharks are now. So they were very small. Now, as they evolved, they had these dermal denticles that was their skin. Now, the dermal denticles are also like a big nose to them. They also shed like we shed our skin. So what's interesting is as these sharks are evolving, how they eat, where they ate, how they migrated, how they maneuvered, all that good thing. They were literally evolving with time. So they have lived through about 4 extinction periods, and they were able to evolve to go down low enough or migrate enough to different areas of bodies of water that was not either as polluted or contaminated or shallower, deeper, whatever the shark species was living there in their time, and how they were affected. Now, with that being said, we know something that has evolved with them, and it's their shark teeth. So the shark teeth, the dermodenticles, as those sharks' skin kept on growing, it kept on going into the mouth, into the mouth, into the mouth, into the mouth. So it got back to a place where it can no longer hit the most furthest point of the mouth internally. So imagine us having skin, but it's growing, it's growing, it's growing upward and even forward and even backward. And now we're left with all these scales in the mouth. So what tends to happen is, as they're left with all of these um, scales in the mouth, which is the denticles, now what's happening is they're now going in reverse. So as they're going in reverse, now they're coming back up like this. So as they're coming up back like this, some are crushing, some are meat eaters. So when I mean by crushing, they're crushing crustaceans, crabs, so on, right? So that's one species. Then you have the flesh eaters, the meat eaters, whether it is the mackerel species or whatever species it is. They're now having two different sets of teeth, right? So because in what they're living and how they're eating, whether they're bottom dwellers, whether they're moving quick like a mako or coming out the air like a great white, or whether it's the whale shark that might have 300 teeth in its mouth compared to a bull that will lose about 60,000. So with that being said, I'll give you a couple examples right here. So as these sharks are evolving, right? So this is a skate, to give you an example, which is in the ray in the skate family. So as you're seeing here, okay, those are very small crushing plates. All right, like that. So if you look at the front here, this is what it looked like. All right. So I wish I could. It's not too bad of an angle. So even this guy's has rows. So when you look at the front of it here, the rows are coming in, right? But as these back rows all the way back here, so that's what I mean. When the scales were being formed and coming back, coming back, coming back into the mouth, now the reverse starts happening. So all the way back there in the back, these are baby smaller teeth. As they're growing to the front, those teeth are also growing. Okay. So you also have fossils, vertebrae, bones, whatever the animal was, we're left with that. Now, the interesting thing about sharks is the only thing that we're left with the sharks is typically the jaws. We anything that we have are from older collections and they're legal. Okay. So we have a lot of shark fishing that is going on. It's been going on for hundreds of years. We lose tons of sharks a year due to illegal hunting and fishing because of its fins. Okay. So typically, I saw a great white that was caught and released, I believe, in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. And that's awesome to be left, to see the evidence of it and to know that it was returned back to the ocean. So it was about, I believe, a 10 or 12 footer, which is, nice size for great white. So again, that was caught and released, right? So anyhow, we do not believe in illegal shark hunting and fishing. People do it for the jaws, people do it through the fins. We do not believe in that as we do shark conservation. We truly, honestly believe with that. Working with STEM, we work with AZA, we work with a lot of different people, SAFE, which is sharks. So to uplift as much conservation as we can. So moving on along, again, we're left with the evidence of what lived. So typically what happens is the sharks ate the whales, ate the dolphins, whatever it was. So megalodon, which we know is megalodon, ate whatever it was eating, octopus, squid, whatever. So typically we will see the evidence of what it ate. Now, sharks also do ingest. They do also ingest um, their teeth occasionally, right? So if the eating was such force or the tooth is ready to come out, something happens that does ingest it. We can tell that by true enamel wear from the acid of the skin. So typically the serrations are really wore down, or that front face, that whole root is typically eaten. The enamels wore off really bad. So, but we're keeping it kind of technical today, keeping it kind of layman's terms today. So we kind of want to make this fun. And plus, we're getting a super late start. So those that are coming in, definitely join us. Definitely subscribe to us, as we want to do a lot more on this page. But due to our schedule, it's really tough. It's really hard. We were supposed to do Facebook Live today, but nevertheless, we're here. So those that are on the Facebook page, thank you so much for joining me over here. Subscribe, 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 share this. So as we're moving on along, we have something called, this is to the roof or the mouth plate of a pufferfish. Okay. So that's what that guy looks like there. So that's the front, that's the back. Okay. So this would be the roof, this would be the crushing plate. This was actually crushing. So, right. So we'll sit like that. Right. So that's going to crush like that. Or if you want to look at it, that could be this could be the actual gum in the mouth and it's crushing. So however you want to look at it. So, when we get to vertebrae, that's left over, right? And so as you see here, let me kind of show you these two. So this guy here, all right, if you can see that. This would still be a fish eating, okay? Right? This mako here, okay? So compared to this guy is also a meat eater. This is a excuse me, a tiger, extinct tiger. More modern, okay? So when we get to the extinct tiger, when we get to the tiger, they're the same species, most are older. What we find here, this is a tiger. This is a modern here. But typically what we find on the beach, so when I mean extinct, we find that typically on the beach, they're extinct. Can you find white ones like this? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when we get to Mr. Megalodon, we expect us to have the big 5 or 6 inch teeth, which, you know, which I have in my collection, but they come up on the beach typically like this. The reason why we know this guy here is a megalodon is because we have the chevron V, this Barlett line here, which is a huge indicator. But this would have been a very smaller size, as we had 6 different species of megalodon, right? So different story, different day. But again, so this is technically the back. This is the front, right? So this is the front. This is the back. We like to wear it this way because it's more cosmetically pleasing. So I'm showing broken ones to give you an idea. That's what we're finding on the beach. They do come up whole this size. When you start getting larger to the 3 to 4 inch teeth, that's about the limit of when they kind of start breaking and stress fractures and stress cracks and just getting rumbled and tumbled. And through the renourishing projects, they also get broke up and crushed up a lot too. Um, so what else do we kind of have here? Okay. So I'll show you this guy. This is a stingray mouth plate to give you an idea. Okay. So this is really cool. That's what this guy looks like here. All right. So we see how it fed. So this is just is its teeth. How would it feel? How it actually would have filtered, right? Now, some species of stingrays and the skates, they do have smaller teeth, but this is the filter feeder, right here, that's filtering on top of his mouth. And this is what the back looks like that. All right. So let me get you something else that's really kind of cool. So when you look at fossils, you look at teeth. Now, this stuff is obviously found on the beach. A lot of times it's broken just due to as things is coming in, stepped on, getting broke, getting crushed, getting smashed upon rocks, so on, so on, so on. That's what happens to most of the stuff that we're found, unless we're going to the areas that are less populated. So let me find something else. This is really cool. This is a lancet fish. This is a deep water fish. That's what this guy looks like here. Okay, isn't that gnarly, right? Right? If I can get it closer here. That's really cool. Okay. Imagine this guy coming at you, right? So this is a lancet fish. Okay. That's what that guy looks like here. One of my special guys in my collection. Okay, that's that guy. What else can I show you here? Okay. So this is one of my smaller prized possessions. This is a 7 gill. So this is one of the oldest species of sharks, as well as it's a really deep body water shark. Okay. So you don't get to see him a whole lot. But look how his teeth is shaped, right? So technically, he would sit like that. These are his top. This is his bottom. Okay. Right. So to give you an idea, typically meat eaters have all the jag and all the pointy guys up here to actually grip. I mean, cut while these bottom ones are gripping. All right. So that's a good old 7 gill guy there. They have a 7 gill and a 6 gill. What else do I have here? So I just brought out smaller stuff because I didn't even know if I'd even be able to go live. So this is the Mr. Famous Wobbegong. They get much larger than this, obviously, but just showing kind of smaller stuff right now. All right. Okay. So I know it looks super, super, super white. And it's going to blur out on the camera really bad. It's going to white it out real bad. But what I think is interesting about sharks, the world of sharks' teeth, the world of fossils, the world of the ocean, it's always changing. So conditions are changing, which means when we go out to the beach, right now here in the Myrtle area, we have really bad erosion because the storms are coming in right now. So when you go out to the beach, you might be this low, right, from the time you step down. Which is not a bad thing, especially if it's going to expose more shell beds. But if it's not going to expose it, then the problem is the reverse happens and you have more stuff that's coming in. That means the areas that you're looking at can either be super exposed or super buried. So I don't get to be to the beach as much as I would want to, simply because my schedule is quite hectic nowadays. So, but when I do get to go down, I'm going down on the best days possible. So I've looked at some of the tide charts. I've looked at some of the conditions, wind conditions, how high the waves are, and so on. So sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's yearly. But when I don't have the time to look, I guess it doesn't matter. But what we do is we like to make sure I'm not missing anything. If y'all have any, I don't know if I can do live chat. I don't know how. Okay. If y'all have any questions I'm missing, please let me know. As I won't be on here too much longer. I got about 30 more minutes. I know I'm super late. You all take a second to subscribe, like this, share this. We are on. I hope everyone got to see. Let me make sure. I hope everyone got to see where we're on here. Um, Let me do this. We're live. Okay. So, the world of sharks is truly magnificent because Dodelius problematicus was the very first name of the very first shark. And he really was able to be the ground setter of what sharks is today. That's what the earliest teeth come from. Now, the shark's mouth are conveyor belts. So for a whole entire lifetime, they will indeed lose. Again, 20 to 60, depending on the species. The whale shark is actually more of a fish than what he is a shark. Gracefully moves that well through the water. So you can imagine something that size that was a large shark. Now, the great whites are not related to Mr. Megalodon. They're two different species. But we have that's what our identity are being able to identify him. That's the closest thing that we really have because we do not know what he looked like, but we do have the evidence of his teeth and the species of different teeth that um, was in his mouth. And as that mouth comes along, all the different teeth, they have numbers, they have different positionings and different names. We can get to that to a different time. But in each shark, and the denticles change with each shark. So if denticle means small tooth, dermodentical, small tooth. So he will put that denticle underneath a magnifying glass, you would see where that denticle looks like a small tooth. That's why you go one way on the shark, it's smooth, the other way will cut you. So it's a small tooth. So it's not by chance that the teeth in his mouth um are also just like its skin. So it's small teeth. So that also allows that shark to move very gracefully through the water with less drag, with less energy. So some sharks are bottom dwellers, which those gills come into a purpose too. Some gills are to breathe, some gills are to move, right? So when we look at sand tigers, the nurse, all those bottom dwellers that don't really have to move as much to be able to um, breathe, you'll see them moving gracefully, but they won't have to move all the time to breathe. Where the great white, that guy he has to move to be able to breathe. So where the sand tiger guy or the nurse, they'll be able to be on the bottom and still breathe through their gills, so they don't have to necessarily move to have that water going through the pump to their lungs. So if you see a great white that's being brought up on like for National Geographic or Discovery or whatever it is, Science Channel, you'll see what is the first thing they do? They put them hoses in its gills to simulate it moving, right? So it can stay still as long as you have something pumping through it. But if you did not, then it would perish quickly. So let me see, what question do I have here? Okay. So the question is it better to look for shark teeth at low tide or high tide? What are the best conditions? Um, when you go to the beach, you want to look at how high the tide is, or look on the phone to see how high it is for the day, or what it will be for the day. Um, Low tide can be prosperous as well as high tide can be prosperous. It's what the beach is producing. All right. So if you get out there and you're at high tide and there are no shell beds, there's nothing way out there being pulled back in, shells are not hitting your legs, not hitting your feet, then typically that would probably not be the best time. As shell beds do come and go, they are very magical. So you can be out 1 hour, go back, walk the same spot. There's nothing. Reverse it. You can be out, have nothing, come back in an hour, and it's very prosperous. So you first want to look at wind conditions. You have a lot of wind pushing the more wind, which means what? Higher the waves. If there are shell beds that are out there covered up near the sandbar, still wanting to come in, then yes. If there's enough already produced on the beach, which means it's being uncovered by the waves, then yes, that can be prosperous. But if you come out, then there is no thresh line or no rack line or no shell beds, which are all the same thing. Um, then no, it won't be as prosperous at all. If you come out and there's small shell, small content, small teeth, large content, large shells, larger teeth. So Um, it depends on how much you want to get beat up. If you want to come out and you don't want any waves whatsoever, so that way you can have plenty of time to look, low tide's best. But if you want to get wet and you like looking quicker and you like looking in more water, deeper water, then high tide's going to work best for you. Everything I find is on the surface. I don't dig. I haven't dug. Never will dig unless I'm in an area that I know there's a whole lot of content underneath the sand. In this area here in Myrtle Beach, you sometimes have layers of 2 inches or 2 to 6 inches of sand. Then you have a small inch or two layer of shale. Then it goes back to sand. Some areas you get here, you're a foot worth of sand, and in that, nothing's ever going to produce unless you go to an area that can still produce fossils and or teeth. So there is really no best tide because I've been in between intermittent tides, low tides, high tides, and have found nothing, as well as I've been able to find a whole lot. So it's very temperamental and it's daily, hourly, minutely. That tide is always changing. The sand is always changing. The sediment's always changing. So the beach, when there's shell beds out, look as much as you can, but the last thing you want to do is stop and just look in one area and spend 2 or 3 hours in one area. You want to keep moving. That's another good trick. You want to keep moving because moving is key. As soon as you stand still and you're in a dead area, and let's say a half mile or 300, 200 feet from you is a prosperous area, but the area you're in is nothing but sand. That happens. Moving is key. Where do I look when I get to the beach? Obviously, we have the sand dunes. You want to stay out of that. Beyond the sand dunes, all the way into the water, it's all one big shell bed. We just can't see it because it's all covered up. So what that ocean is doing, it's a big washing machine. So it is washing machine all day long, recycling, moving, pushing, tumbling, moving. That's all it's doing all day long. So if you're in an area that you see nothing and all that's going on, then that might not be the best area, the best spot. I hit several beaches in a day when I do get the look, and I'm done my early morning going back home, unless I know there's another tide I want to hit throughout the day, or I just want to go and just chill at the beach. So so I hope that kind of answers your question. It is no best time. There is no best beach. There is no, you learn the beach, but I've told many people certain times, certain places, certain locations, and they've all been strikeouts, right? Because maybe when I was there yesterday, it was great, but today is nothing that happens. Trust me. Let's say, hey, come on down here, Johnny. I'm down here right now. By the time they get there, everything's covered up. And that happens too. So while you're out there, you want to look for black, you want to look for shiny, you want to look for, yes, triangular is fine, but there's also 1,600, 2,000 species worth of sharks. Each one of those are different. Their top is different than the bottom, typically. So there are exceptions to the rule, but typically, as the placement happens in the same shark, you might think it's not the same species of shark, but it is. Maybe it's the lower back, right? And what you found was the lower middle, lower side. Same thing with the top. The placement changes like our teeth change. So something else is different is sharks also do not get cavities. All right. The bone with fluoride. It does not hurt when they lose their teeth. They naturally fall out because they're always shifting and moving forward. So, and they're born with that same set of jaws the moment that they're born. Now, the great white pups, they're very they're carnivores. So typically you'll only always see one pup. Very rarely will you see, she might give birth to more, but by the time they're strongest guys and they're eating everything up. So most are like what we call mermaid purses. Some are born live, some are born like in the mermaid purses, and they have to incubate and then grow, and then they'll come out of their purses is what we call it. So depending on the shark and the species, depends on how they're born. Now, anything that changes color, so that tooth So the first mistake that most people say is the tooth is classified by the color, meaning the color gives the age. That's incorrect. It's incorrect. The color of the tooth has nothing to do with the age. However, it does take 10,000 years for that tooth to change whatever color that it's going to be. Let's say this shark is going along, right? Oop, the tooth falls out. Where this tooth may fall out may be blue, right? Meaning what's down here is blue. What's down here is red, white, green, orange, purple, teal, black. Black typically is due for the phosphate here. So we'll get to that in a minute. So let's say the same tooth was coming along and a mile down the way, tooth falls out, it's red, right? It's green, it's blue. As this shark is traveling, teeth fall out all the time, whether it's feeding or it naturally falls out. So that's why we get the color, is due to the sediment that it is in. Now, once the mineral is absorbed into that, and depending on what mineral it's in. So let's say it buried itself in blue and then it's also creamy, but it's also maybe green on top. That's why we have these iridescent colors, or these, some people think they're painted, or baby blue and white. They look brushed, or they look like they're painted on, or like airbrushed. Um, so that happens, and a lot of times that's natural. Now, teeth can be restored, or they can be painted, or all that type of stuff. But you know a natural looking tooth, or you will know that when you get to feel it, you get to look at it. You look at it, how the serrations is, the enamel, the burlap lines, so on, the cusplets, and all that good stuff. So, the cookie cutter shark doesn't lose one tooth; it loses its entire lower plate all at one time. So the cookie cutter is what we see, like if sharks or whales or dolphins dive, they float to the top, and you'll see them perfect circles. Well, they won't lose a tooth; they're going to lose their whole entire plate at one time. Also, often swallowing it while it eats. So we also have like the black collar phosphate. We have a lot of phosphate here that is a mineral. Well, red or orange is iron or iron. Grayish to yellow is limestone, and brown or like a reddish is like a tannin from a river. So all these are minerals that teeth will fall in, because different species of sharks are also going to different locations, different areas. So that's why you'll find the different colors of sharks. And that's just a good idea of 4 or 5 different minerals. The phosphate is a lot here in South Carolina. So that's why we find a lot of things that are black, that's turned black. Now, we do find modern teeth here that's just fallen out due to feeding, or due near to piers or close to the water's edge, as they may be feeding, or maybe they were feeding in the sandbar or above the sandbar behind it, and the waves is pushing that in. So occasionally you will find all solid white teeth. They do exist, they do happen. Now, you have the anterior tooth, which means those are the front side tooth. You have the 3 bottom. I think you have the 1 intermediate. Then you have 7 lateral, 4 posterior. So you pretty much have 28 top teeth, 4 rows of them. And this again, this is depending on the shark. If I'm not mistaken, you have it depends. So you have the intermediate, the lateral, the posterior, and they all develop differently, meaning sizes. So and again, it depends on the species. So when you get to look at the mouth, or like, that's why I bring about 100 sets of jaws with me. That way everyone can see the various species of jaws, and how the teeth operate, and how they fed, and how they open the mouth, how they close it, all that good stuff. But um, what I realized is, in my years of hunting, is you have good days, you have bad days. I have fossils, I have shark teeth, I have jaws, you name it. Um, but in that, each piece is special, whether it's a small sand tiger or a big bull or a great white you may have found, or whatever the case is, or a mako, short fin mako, long fin mako, nurse, tawny nurse, hammerhead, smooth, a scallop, you name it. Um, zebra, dusky, lemon, just goes on. And the more you learn about sharks is they're not these killers that actually Jaws is going to be doing a big release, I think 50 years this year. So Jaws unfortunately put this very new outlook of almost panic and fear to the beachgoers, to the vacationers, right? So what ended up happening was they set this view to what was going on in the new world of sharks. So they put this panic and fear. So now there's this dangerous shark. There's this rogue shark. Sharks are inquisitive. They're electronically driven with all of their lobes and all their mechanical and all of their sensories that like an let's use a tiger shark. That tiger shark doesn't necessarily want to bite you, but it's so driven that it just wants to, it has to bump you. It has to see what you are. And what will happen is most sharks, this here is the inside. Anything blingy, jewelry, all of that is the scales, right? So you already have two things working against you. So from afar off, they sense you, they see you. Oh, that must be a fish because you're doing this naturally in the water, right? Well, you're also wearing bling bling, which now you're the scales. Inside scales. Two big things fish look for. Inside scales. The more you splash, oh, that's a hurt fish, right? That's a sea lion. That's a seal. That's whatever fish it is that they're hunting for. So much like different species of dogs that hone in, once they've honed in on you, they just typically don't come in and want to attack. They'll swim around you, right? That shark, if I'm here, the shark is going to swim around. It's going to swim around, get close to you, see what you are first. Now, if you're riding the waves, boogie boarding, and you're looking like prey, of course, you run from a dog, that dog is what ready to bite. That's a different, totally different gimmick. So now, if you're now on the escape from a shark, what I would do, swim back very slowly if you can, with your back obviously not towards him. If you can, come back. If there's a shark coming at me, I would want to obviously come here. Should they come in, God forbid, you want to take your hands to move that shark away because more than likely it's going to want to sense you, smell you, taste you, touch you because that's how they are geared. Doesn't mean they're killers because they're not. Doesn't mean that they're rogue. You do have aggressive species, obviously, but you also have aggressive species of dogs. But it's how you raise them, train them. Now, sharks are not trained; they're not raised. However, we are in their backyard. So always keep in mind of safety. So there's a couple things that a couple tips that we can give. If you see what we call bait fish that are jumping and there's schools and it's all the way around you, something, maybe not a shark, but something is chasing that, whether it's a larger fish, whether it's whatever it may be. Now, once you see that, pay attention to your surroundings. Sometimes you might have this shark fin come up and it's obviously looking, is hunting, is probably doesn't even, maybe it's not even focused on you, but it's focused on the fish around you. So always be very cognizant of your surroundings. Compare it to the number of people that are in the water, compared to the amount of bites, it's not even close, which means what? There's sharks always around us out there. And a lot of times they have no interest. They're scared away. They're already way back into the water. They do come up to the beach. We have to know that we're in their water, we're in their domain. So let's just keep that in mind. Should you see a beach shark, you want to reach out to your local authorities, your local, whether it's DNR, whatever environmental or animal protection or animal safety that's in your area. You want to reach out to them. Let's keep the sea turtles. Let's from here. It's from March to October is nest no October to March is turtle season here. So we don't want to use the bright lights. We want to use the red lights for that. And I'm sure whatever area that you're in, you want to use that as well. Um, should we see a stranded turtle, do not touch it. You want to call somebody as quickly as possible. Here in the Myrtle Beach area, you can reach out to Ranger Ann, Ranger Mike, to Sea Turtle Patrol, and they'll get somebody right out there or call the authorities because we want to keep them safe and protected. Same thing with sharks. If a shark is beached as quickly as you can, reach out to a lifeguard or reach out to the police. And they're relatively, if you're near the coast, then there's going to be some type of police or something around to be able to help get the animals back into the water because it's their safety and our safety. All right. So, something else with science. If you know storms, please keep out for the undercurrents, as we do have riptides that will pull you back out, right? And you don't even know it. So, should you get caught in a rip current, you want to go adjacent and slowly make your way back into the water. Do not try to outswim it unless you are even a seasoned lifeguard. Most of them will say it'll kick your tail back out. So, something else that we want to do is again, let's not shark fish. All right. Let's not illegally hunt animals. Let's not buy things that are illegal or that are not, or that we know. I do see shark fins for sale. We don't promote it. Actually, it's sickening is what they do to the shark. They cut off a couple fins, stick it back into the water. As we know, it can't move, and unfortunately, it dies. So if you see somebody illegally fishing for sharks or killing them or cutting the fins off, let's let the authorities know because this is something we want our children and their children's children to enjoy. Okay. So something else that I'll say when I have a couple more minutes here is I've been hunting close to 40 years now. That's 40 years. And you never stop learning. You never stop evolving. And there's friends of mine that when I was young that really helped encourage me, really invested time into me that I still can tell them thank you. We're still publicly in all these workshops that I do tell people thank you because no one knows it all. We had to start. We had to get here. So what I will say is if you're just learning, we do have a couple cool identification charts that I believe is on our webpage, myrtlebeachsharkteeth.com, myrtlebeachsharkteeth.com. And I believe they're also listed on our Myrtle Beach Shark Teeth Facebook page as well. So you want to be able to identify or have a identification chart. Even the postcards is cool. It gives you a good idea. Ours is laminated and we do give them out a lot just so you know before you even hit the beach, you have an idea of at least what a shark tooth is. It doesn't mean you'll get it perfect the first time, maybe not even the second, maybe not even the third. But the more you do it, your eyes going to come more accustomed to it. Some shark teeth is not shiny, right? There's no gleam. It's been sitting in the dry sand for a while. Maybe all you see is just um maybe all you see is this, right? The rest of it is a tooth. But all you saw was just this. So you kept moving, right? So it takes time to identify. When you're looking in the sand, they don't look like much, right? But underneath it is a whole tooth. That takes time. Whatever you have, whatever you get, you can always post it to our page to identify it. And we will, if not me, somebody else will be able to get back with you as soon as possible. There's a lot of stuff that people throw back that they just don't know what it is. They have no idea. Is it a tooth? Is it a fossil? What is it? Is it a bone? Oh, I will say if it's turtle stuff, anything turtle, let's just leave it where it is. You're not really supposed to possess that at all. You see turtle shells, sea turtle shells, you'll see fossils, you might see whatever fragments of whatever. Let's kind of keep that, especially if it's modern, because we don't know what the scenario situation is, but let's just leave that. What else do I want to say about safety and what not to keep? There's a whole list that we could go down, and maybe I will some point. What you can keep, what you can't keep, all that good stuff, because we do want to do things legally. That's why all of my jaws are legal. All of my jaws have come from either Dr. Gordon Hubble or the late Glenn Reed. That's where most of mine have come from. So um, Oh, also, tools. What tools should you use? It's whatever works best for you. I know you get tired of bending down, picking up, bending down, picking up. You can use scoops, you can use ladles, you can use shovels, smaller shovels. Let's fill the holes back in for our safety and animal safeties out there as well. We don't want anything to get trapped or caught because we left a big 2 foot hole. So let's bury those back. It's okay if you want to dig, go through the shells and see what's under there. Cool, but let's fill them back in. Is what you don't want is next person to come in and fall in a sinkhole, have a broken leg, break an ankle, whatever the case is, or animal get caught, die. So let's kind of fill those back in. We do have lots of partners that we partner with. You can check them out on our myrtlebeachsharkteeth.com page under the partners link. We have tons of workshops coming up. We have April 19th. We have that coming up with Myrtle Beach Shark Tooth Adventures. We will be doing an event with them. It's the Easter Meg Extravaganza that starts at 10 o'clock. So from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. will be an Easter egg hunt with shark teeth, I guess, and the eggs as well. That begins again April 19th at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's just the Easter egg hunt. Then from that point on, it's going to be discounted dig packages, which is really cool. I'll be speaking a little bit. We're going to be doing a Megalodon tooth raffle. So that's really cool. We'll be doing that. And that's posted on our page. So call 843 427 4144 to get more information about the Easter Meg Extravaganza. Okay. So let's keep a lookout for that. Let's keep a lookout for all of the other events that we got going on. So I hope this was fun. I hope this was enjoyable. Sorry, we're like super late. We're supposed to be at 11. But again, I'll repost this on the page. And again, we couldn't hit everything, but we just want to talk a little bit about sharks and shark tooth hunting and just kind of show a couple little things. But sorry, we're so late today. But I hope you enjoyed this. And again, subscribe, like, share, follow our Myrtle Beach Shark Tooth Facebook page as well, as we'll be coming to hopefully to a city or even a stream or a live virtual event somewhere near you. Again, we want to thank our dear friends over at STEM and Explore for allowing us to even take part into this and allowing us to even partner with them. So STEM does great things. Explore is doing great things, a great educational platform and outreach. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you so much, everyone over there. And because we do believe in giving credit where credit is due. And what I think is also interesting is we want to give our time back as much as we can. And what Jenny likes to do is bring the world of education and keep it alive, right? She was a teacher for many years. So Miss Jenny Buckles likes to get back. She's a very busy lady. I believe she's over in London. So she's several hours ahead of us now. So, but Carrie, thank you so much, man, from Mythbusters. Carrie Bryan. There's not too much that we can say that isn't that's ever negative. It's always uplifting. She gives her time back. She gives so much. She always has. Great person, down to earth person. It was surprisingly that she knew exactly who we were, knew who our brand was, have heard of me. So to reach out and just kind of connect with her has been awesome as well. So again, we thank everyone and your time. So look, we'll come back and do this again. It won't be STEM related. Maybe it will next time. Maybe it won't. But again, we want to thank you for your time, your patience with us. Sorry we're super late. Whatever's going on with Zoom, I have no idea. Wouldn't even allow us to even connect to our group page. I'm like, okay, so let us just do a YouTube thing. So again, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great day. Happy hunting. This is the peak season to be looking, coming to the beach, vacationing. Be safe, have fun. Check us out. Hopefully, we'll see you in a workshop coming to you sometime soon. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.